I think she's finally waking up.
Wake up, Mommy!
Hope Rebecca's okay.
What is going on? Ow! I don't feel good.
You were in an accident.
Ah! I look different!
Do you like it?
No.
Aww.
I love it!
Yay!
But why the new nice appearance?
You were in an accident, Rebecca. Someone hit you with a sleigh and reindeer.
Sorry about that. But we were practicing for Christmas.
I love Christmas!
Practicing for Christmas in July?
Yeah!
Why?
To get ready for Christmas. Nothing wrong with starting early.
In the hottest month?
Okay, you make a fair point.
We could also be celebrating Christmas in July!
What's Christmas in July?
Holla. You never heard of Christmas in July?
No, what is it?
It's when people celebrate Christmas in the southern hemisphere.
We're in the northern hemisphere, Dashie.
That's true. But people in the north still like to celebrate it since it's the halfway point of Christmas.
The halfway point to Christmas is June 25th, not July 25th. So why did they wait an extra month?
You know what? I've been asking that for ages. Like, it should be in June. I don't know. I just celebrate the holiday. I don't make up the days.
Can we at least still be jolly?
Oh, of course, it's fun!
Yay!
I love being jolly.
Me too.
Some people prefer celebrating Christmas in the warmth instead of the cold.
Well, with the world getting less snow and me not seeing any snow on Christmas Day since 2009, it might be easier to pretend to celebrate Christmas in January when we actually do get snow.
Perhaps.
It's funny, my area gets snow now in April, but not on Christmas Day.
What are the odds? But enough talk. We should get out of here.
Let's go celebrate Christmas in July!
Woohoo! Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I'm sorry, Rebecca. I have to correct you on something.
Huh? What's that?
It's actually October.
Huh?
Yeah, like the middle of it.
My Little Pony turns 12 years old today!
If it's that late, why wasn't I awoken earlier?
Here's a bell.
I don't have that much money!
Well, there is one way you can pay it off.
And what's that?
If you were to review the top 10 worst Christmas animations, I'll consider this page.
You serious?
Yes, I am. We have an auditorium down the hall and to the left for you.
You have an auditorium in a hospital?
Yeah, this used to be a theater. We were just too lazy to remove it.
Alright then, let's get started. That way I can pay this bill off faster.
Payback for the last Ryanimation review when you made me watch Boost Baby.
So for every 10 Ryanimation reviews from now on, I'm gonna be doing a list. Yes, that's right. We are finally 10% done with this series, as I plan on doing 100 Ryanimation reviews. For every 10 Ryanimation reviews, they will be topless. Number 50 is the only exception, as I have something different planned for that special. But everything else, topless. And they won't be on TV shows or movies. Like, I don't want to do a simple top 10 best and worst of, say, The Owl House. That would be too easy. Doing like a top 10 best or worst of a show is just too easy for me. When I do these top lists, I want them to be more experimental. Ones that you wouldn't normally think of. Like, say, a Christmas list. When you think of Christmas, you think of fun, beautiful animations like The Nightmare Before Christmas, The Grinch, Charlie Brown, Rudolph, Frosty, and all those other holidays classics that are fun to watch. And you think that's the kind of stuff that I would review. But nope! We gotta do the bad, because it's the only way to pay off this hospital bill. Let's just get through this so that we can all have a Merry Christmas. I know it's currently October, but you get what I mean. This is gonna be a fun list for you guys to watch me suffer, but for me, it of course will be painful. Get out your fruitcakes and eggnog, plus your Santa hats and lumps of coal. These are the top 10 worst Christmas animations. So what are we starting off with for this list?
Peter, how old is that girl?
Excuse me, won't you? lot of scumbags out today.
We have a Christmas episode where a pedophile is looking at child pornography in front of Jesus. Jesus Christ, this video is gonna be long. So, the 2,000-year-old virgin is about how Jesus Christ never had sex, and he wants to have sex with Lois. Peter allows it because he gets a cool chair out of it. But it turns out that Jesus was lying and he's had sex plenty of times. Apparently doing this shit here every Christmas. I never really got, not just animations, but stories or even real people in general, spending millions of dollars on something just to piss people off. When I see the hundreds of stories out there of people spending millions of dollars to make fun of someone, I never understood that. Is it like an inside joke where you went to ridiculous lengths to make fun of someone? These aren't funny and haven't been funny since... Well, to be honest, I don't know if they ever have been funny. Maybe if I reviewed this episode in the 2010s, I would have been all ranty and gone in depth with these problems. But now, in 2022, I'm just bored by them. Christians will get pissed with this episode because of it mocking Jesus. And everyone else will get pissed with this episode because how boring it is. It's just a story of a guy lying about having sex just so he can get more sex. I don't see what else there is to add. I mean, I guess I could also mention the jokes of Jesus dating.
Where are you from?
Israel.
My favorite one is the one deleted scene from this episode that wasn't allowed to air.
Hey, I'd like to ride your ass into Jerusalem.
Get it? Because Jesus is horny. It's pointless for cartoons to do nothing but spend millions of dollars just to piss people off. And to make matters worse, cartoons are still doing this now in today's world, which is something that I don't get. The world is getting more expensive by the day. I think this is one thing that we should start cutting on. We should be focusing on writing good stories, things that are actually funny. And that seems like what Family Guy has been doing. Ever since the 2015 episode A Shot in the Dark, they have been on a roll. And have been doing better ever since and currently is the best adult cartoon of all time. I should really do that top 20 best Mom Family Guy episode list. I think I'll do that for the 20th Ryanimation review. Unfortunately, this episode aired in 2014. 2014 was Family Guy's worst year ever. I mean, it's not like they couldn't write good things in 2014. Even this episode has some good jokes, which is why it's only number 10. I dare you to find fault with the Tasmanian Devil joke. So, Thundercats Roar was a show that started at the beginning of this decade, and it was hated from the start. I didn't end up liking it, but I never found it to be the worst cartoon ever. I mean, people were saying that it was shit before it even came out. Quality-wise, somewhere in between Powerpuff Girls 2016 and Teen Titans Go, we got another Cartoon Network reboot of an old property that doesn't understand the point of the original. It only got one season. It started in 2020 and ended in 2020, not even lasting a full year. It's bad, but I don't think it's gonna be the worst of the decade. Probably at worst, a dishonorable mention. And yes, I want to do like a top 10 worst cartoons of the 2020s when the decade ends. I imagine a lot of other people will be doing this as well. But believe it or not, the series finale might have been the worst. It's a Christmas episode, which is fine to have as a series finale. The problem is that it's just not good. So Santa gets arrested for speeding. Yes, that's a fact. And he's also in space because this show doesn't understand anything. Like the fact that Santa has an expired license. Seriously, this was 2020, yet it expired in 1997. It expired in the year that Thundercats was last relevant. And then Santa runs away from the police, because our heroes always run away from the authority figures. He crashes into Third Earth, and Lion-O investigates, but not before we get to see his butt! It's kind of amazing to me when these cartoons don't know about Santa. I can actually let it slide that Santa knows who Lion-O is without Lion-O ever telling him his name, because Santa is usually all-knowing, and this episode has other problems, like Mandora and how she hunts down Santa's robot reindeer. Well, at least no reindeer were actually harmed. Honestly, the robot reindeer would have been a clever concept if it was used better.
Gotta break the law, yes, break the law for Christmas.
I actually love this song. This is exactly what I would expect to see in a parody of an actual good story. Oh, it sucks, but it's a very stupid and silly fun song to make fun of. Yes, kids, break the law! Normally, I try to make that sarcastic joke into a longer sentence or even sentences, but I don't have to this time. And the fact that Santa is the one singing this lyric here just makes it all the more jolly. This is what I expect Rick Sanchez to sing.
DEA.
Cookies?
Fortune cookies.
You're not here about our gang citywide meth ring?
What? No. Break the laws. They shouldn't exist anyway.
We're sipping mugs of cocoa in a mugshot.
Damn it, I actually like that lyric unironically.
Don't care if they slap me with a misdemeanor.
Oh, by the way, Grandma got run over by a reindeer wasn't bad enough to be on this list.
Grandpa's gonna sue the pants off of Santa. That's what Grandpa's gonna do. Woo-hoo!
So don't expect that to be on here. That lyric alone put this on the list over Grandma.
All right, everyone. The sun rises at 6. That gives us 2 hours to get all these presents delivered.
Oh yeah, people have told me that this show is inconsistent with size in every single scene. Say what you want about Steven Universe being inconsistent with height and sizes throughout the show. At least that show shows their characters stay the same size in the same episode. So the episode is about how Santa needs to deliver all the presents and the Thundercats all help Santa. They win, but Mandora arrests all of them. And she said that they have to serve prison for the next 500 years. Considering that this was the final episode of Thundercats, I can only assume that they are still in there. Honestly, the ending is why this one is so low, because it has a bit of meta humor that does get a few good laughs out of me. Fairly Odd Parents made a second Christmas special. I talked about this, wait, only 1 year ago? Oh geez, this decade has been long. But anyways, because my stance on the top 20 worst Fairly Odd Parents episodes still holds up, I won't go deep into this one. The biggest issue still is the fact that it basically is a terrible follow-up to the original special that did not need a follow-up at all.
Okay, boys, start leaking those photos onto the internet.
It's not leaking if you intentionally tell them to do it, you idiot! And Santa is a big asshole who does everything wrong and is rewarded for doing everything wrong. This episode also has a couple of poop jokes. I already pointed out the first one.
Hey, where's the can? I gotta go drop some presents down the chimney, if you know what I mean.
But I didn't notice the second one the first time around.
Look, my mistletoe's coming in thanks to the fresh manure.
Yeah, I gave and asked for nothing in return.
Oh, and the transition that you saw so far on this list comes from this episode. I love how Timmy says, Dad. Though I still love Timmy's girly voice joke.
Dear Santa, I believe in you. I can't imagine Christmas without you. You're the greatest, most jolliest Christmas hero ever.
And where's my sexy Mrs. Claus?
Hey! Let it go.
No.
But this is the part where you're just gonna say that you're right, Rebecca. I'm gonna let it go. But this time you didn't let it go. How could you not let it go, Jackson? How could you do this to me?
I don't.
Fine then. I had sex with her last night. Merry Christmas. Christmas is about a time to get together with your family, joy, happiness, and The Simpsons. The Simpsons have had a lot of amazing Christmas episodes. Their pilot is one of the best episodes of the show, and that's a Christmas special. But there is always going to be a worse one. When you've been on for 3 decades, you're going to have a bad Christmas special. And none of them are worse than Miracle on Evergreen Terrace. Miracle on Evergreen Terrace is miserable. It wants you to feel miserable. Oddly enough, this episode is kind of good at first. They do a bunch of jokes with Homer.
Attention shoppers, Register 9 is now open for your shopping convenience. Bart would like this. We're out of these.
Out, but I just...
Register 9 is now closed. Come on, kids, let's try the lights.
It's craptacular.
But when Bart burns the tree down, the episode goes bad. Oddly enough, this is like the only episode of The Simpsons to get a G rating, meaning that little kids can watch this one. Which is strange because of scenes like this.
You little...
Lisa, no! Your hands are too weak!
I wouldn't show a kid that, but that's the least of my problems. Up until the 6-minute mark, the episode was fine. Do you ever have a moment in animation where you can pinpoint the exact moment when an episode goes to shit? There is no Simpsons episode more accurate for that than this one. The second that Bart burns the tree down, it all goes downhill. There are other jokes afterwards, like the car bail joke, but not enough to save the episode. Here's the problem with this premise. Because of Bart doing this, and the whole town giving his family riches with no one knowing that he did this dirty trick to hide the fact that he burned the tree himself, You'd think that would make you want to hate him. But he feels guilty about it, which is the worst thing that you could do. And not helping is watching a scene like this one here, with the orphans given their only dollar that they saved for medicine to Bart here.
We want you to have this dollar we were saving. Please, I don't deserve this.
And everyone hates The Simpsons when their lie is caught on the news. Oh, I'm sorry, when Bart's lie is caught on the news. Everyone in the town now hates The Simpsons, even though Bart was the only one to lie. But maybe he will say something about this.
He's just covering for me. I destroyed the presents, then I buried the evidence. And I acted alone.
Oh wait, Bart told the truth, and that he said that the rest are innocent. Then why does the whole damn town hate the entirety of The Simpsons? Lisa doesn't even get a say in this, and she has the worst luck. The town turns into a pariah against her after they gave her their money by accident. She lost all her Christmas cheer when everyone else was having a happier Christmas prior. Learned that her brother ruined everything for Christmas. The town hates her through no fault of her own, like that piece of wood. And even this from Krusty and Otto is good, disgusting to me. While some parts, like Lenny taking the burning log, is funny because it'd be stupid to think.
You're heading for the medicine cabinet. I already been there.
And it is also nice for Flanders to get his grill back, especially since Homer kinda still has Flanders' TV dinner table.
Sure, you can borrow it for a little while.
And that little while is now 8 years and counting.
But what am I supposed to say when Apu steals the pets? Objects are one thing, pets are another. Pets are family. That's the worst part of the episode to me besides the burning tree. If I were to fix this episode, I would actually have a burglar. And maybe the episode could have had a showdown at the end. Hell, the burglar could look exactly like how Bart described it just for fun. Or the episode could have been about how this robber robs the Simpsons. But in reality, was actually returning the treat for himself to fix because it could have had a light problem and he wouldn't want a fire to cause it. Maybe Homer could have been warned about this, but he just didn't listen because, I don't know, Homer being Homer. This is a nitpick, but fire spreads. Why would it just go into a big puddle like that? If anything, the curtains should have caught on fire as well. There is a lot of missed joke opportunities for what we do have. Like the Loud House, The Simpsons has a bit of trouble, especially in 2020s, where they have moments that beg to have jokes. Like a bunch of moments saying, insert joke here, but the only one inserting the jokes is Homer, and Bart on occasion. When the family is strangling Bart, Marge just says something, "That's enough! You can't strangle Bart like that!" And then everyone would stop and frown and feel guilty for 5 seconds. Then Marge would get an evil grin and start strangling Bart and saying, "Now this is how you should strangle Bart!" And Homer could even cheer Marge on and say, "That's my wife! Woohoo!" You should try to be a little bit more creative with the typical Bart strangling. The part where Marge is on Jeopardy and is $5,200 in debt, it'd be funny if she said something like, "I can't believe that all the questions tonight were beer related." And Homer could have yelled something like, "That's why I said that I should have been the one to play Jeopardy!" And yes, rest in peace, Alex Trebek.
You were down $5,200.
But Mr. Trebek...
I asked you before the game if you knew the rules, and you said you did. Judges?
Red Mom!
So originally this was going to be number 1, until I found 5 Christmas animations at the last minute that were worse. Not saying that this isn't bad, but not in the ways that everyone else talks about. I could talk about the stupid animation, the bad audio and dialogue, but I just want to talk about Mrs. Mavilda. I don't like the fact how this addictive gambler who abuses children for years while running an orphanage tries to get redeemed. I know it's strange that this is the angle that I'm going with, but it's honestly the only angle that hasn't been talked about. At least that Rudolph and Frosty thing didn't do the shit, which is why I put this on the list and not that other special. She became Judy's assistant. Why? She should be sent to prison for child abuse and child neglect. She takes the mayor's money, uses it for gambling instead of buying new clothes for the children. Hey, mayor, why didn't you just buy the clothes yourself? It sounds like it would have saved you a trip. Heck, why didn't you check on her more often? This is an unpleasant special. I can see why so many people call it the absolute worst Christmas special ever. But I have seen a few that are still worse than this. Here's a side note. Using real kids to voice children in animation doesn't usually ever seem to work out. It usually makes them all sound terrible. One of them I can't understand their dialogue. Only one child sounds good, the one that overheard Mavilda's plan, but that's because she was the only one out of the group to be voiced by an actual human adult. There's also a huge pointless subplot about a couple of the kids going out to go find Santa all by themselves, including a fake out death for one of the kids. If you think that they would actually kill one of the kids, you didn't wish hard enough on your Christmas miracle. And after you listen to what the hell they sound like, you will wish that too. I was hoping for this one to be so bad it's good, but it's not at all. I mean, at times it is, but for the most part, whenever I wasn't annoyed or angry at the messages that it spews, I was completely bored. At the very least, it only wasted 44 minutes of my life and not over an hour, because that would be much more abysmal. And unfortunately, the next entry on this list is over an hour long. And everything else after that, while shorter, is some of the most soulless shit I have ever seen for Christmas. You ever just watch a piece of fiction so bad that you ask yourself, why has no one else reviewed this shit yet? I mean, there were some people that did review this shit, but not that many. And it still ain't really that talked about today. Unlike your Rhapsody Street Kids and Elf Bowlings that are meme to death, this one is very unknown. This was made by the same people that made Tentacolino. It came out 1 year after that, and I can't figure out what is supposed to be happening. It's a sequel to Winner and the Golden Child, which is a TV series. It has the same quality as this movie. It's about a boy that lives in the jungle and wants to go to New York to see what Christmas is like, and thinks that he will be able to see Santa there, and that Santa could bring back his parents or some shit. No, wait, it's because he wants to see snow. That is why he wants to go to New York City specifically. I mean, there are better places for higher snow, but whatever, you do you, I guess. They travel inside a tree that looks too inappropriate for me to mention on YouTube. Should we censor this? Should we, censor this? Like, this is just wrong. And the tree talks, like this?
College, now say goodbye to each other and then enter. It's time to go. Now you can get out. What's happening? Why are you running so fast?
I'm sorry if this entry here is not organized, because this movie is hard to follow. At least the Christmas tree was easier to follow. Also, some say that this film has bestiality, which we're not playing. Knowing this film, anything is possible. The dogs party in the sewers and eat like hot dogs. Yes, I'm serious. I see Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, and Winnie the Pooh as plushies in stores. And they're all PNG cutouts. They're not even drawn. No, this isn't a Disney animation and they can easily sue. But I doubt that will happen. It ain't worth their billions upon billions of dollars. There's a robbery and the kid saves the day. And Christmas apparently. And there's a dream near the end of the kid playing with his parents where he thought it was real but it was not actually real. But then it somehow ends up being real. There's also a dog catcher that is supposed to be the main antagonist, but then we learned that he actually likes the dogs, and there was a misunderstanding despite him trying to capture the two dogs for most of the movie. My favorite part of the movie is when the dog tells the kid to stay in Central Park and not move.
Wait for me, I'll be right back.
I don't understand. Why can't we go with you?
I don't have time to explain right now. Just wait here and trust me.
And he only left to get a dog leash. There is no reason why the kid had to stay all by himself with the other dog in Central Park. Hell, the dog could at least have explained to the boy what he was doing. He doesn't even do that. This movie is just beyond stupid. Can you even figure out this movie?
Oh, don't worry, child. Here there is a sausage only for you. Here, take it.
Do you know one thing that you could do to piss me off? Doing nothing! I don't get why the Powerpuff Girls Christmas episode is loved. Like, if you made this as the reboot, everybody would hate it. I feel like this special belonging in the original is why people love it. Princess Morbucks, the worst villain on the show, is mad that she gets coal every year for being naughty.
Wild, greedy, bratty, naughty, naughty!
And so she goes up to the North Pole to change the list. Then the three girls find out and they go to Santa to fix things right. But because Santa already made his deliveries, he gave everyone in the world but Morbucks coal. She got to be a Powerpuff Girl, and had to fight the girls all the way up to the North Pole. When Morbucks confronts Santa, he agrees with her at first, but then realizes that she's a bitch, gets rid of her powers, and then the girls deliver the presents. I summed up this special in under 4 minutes. Heck, I was able to sum it up in under a minute. Yet it takes 44 minutes to tell this shit. This is the laziest and most boring Christmas animation that I have ever seen. At least the melodrama in Miracle on Evergreen Terrace was only for like 7 to 11 minutes of it. This one stalls. Yes, Mindy, you're stalling!
Where am I in Crazy Town?
You could cut this episode to 22 minutes or even just 11 minutes, half or even a quarter of the original time. Heck, in the back of my head, I thought this was originally only 22 minutes because of how little that happens. 11 minutes will at least not be as boring, while a shitty, angry, inducing 11-minute episode is worse than a 44-minute boring episode, an 11-minute boring episode is better than a 44-minute boring episode. We didn't need a whole scene of random citizens in Townsville that we will never see again getting ready for Christmas.
Chuck wants a football. Kathleen a tattoo.
See? There's no point in this if we don't know them. I think Friendship is Magic never went on with their background characters like this. Not even in G3 either.
I win! I get to put the star on the tree! I don't think so. Aw, man. No fair.
Yes, we totally need a scene of the girls putting the lights up. Also, this episode is out of order. Wouldn't it make more sense for everyone to get ready for Christmas first, then go to the preschool?
Every year it's the same darn thing. I can make 3 little kids out of seasoning, but I can't get these lights to work.
Comedy gold.
The filler would have been more interesting if it was good. Danny Phantom has this thing that all the ghosts have a one-day tree of no evil.
Oh, this truce. We defend it. We don't fight on Christmas.
Every ghost holds this truce?
It's a fact. It's a rule.
And I'm just thinking to myself, wondering why the Powerpuff Girls can't do the same thing. They could have made some funny sketches with the villains, like having them on the nice list without them realizing it. Mojo could have saved a puppy momentarily while causing destruction. Fuzzy could have chased away people that turned out to be criminals. And him, maybe Santa has him on the nice list so that he gets him off his back. Oh, speaking of Santa Claus, this is the most unpleasant Santa that I have ever seen. His presence alone just sucks the fun out of the holiday. Even though this is supposed to be like a jolly Santa, Very Odd Parents had a more jolly Santa. Both versions. This Santa here is also an idiot because it feels like he didn't check the list Moorbug screwed up twice. Hey, what did Bubble say earlier?
It was a mistake. He must not have checked his list twice like he's supposed to.
I mean, I guess Santa is dumb enough to believe that only one kid in the world is nice. It's funny, we don't have any confirmation of him, like, checking the list twice. It'd been nice if we got, like, a couple of scenes acknowledging this, saying it just feels wrong, or that he feels sad about giving every child in the world coal. It wouldn't excuse everything, but at least we're making more human. This Santa's just an asshole. Just look at how he yells at the girls.
When I come home to the smashing and crashing gang? No but. Answer me! That's right! First time.
That's just wrong. Why is the Gilbert Gottfried Santa from Billy and Mandy one of the nicest Santas I've ever seen?
Sometimes you just have to take risks and believe in the goodness that we all have deep down inside us. That's what Christmas is all about.
Yet this Santa is just horrid.
Wow, Santa! We didn't know you could give kids superpowers for Christmas.
Yeah, no one's ever asked.
Shit. Are you telling me nobody, and I mean nobody, ever wanted to be like Batman, Spider-Man, Iron Man, Superman, Wonder Woman, Hulk? No kid ever has to be a superhero? This is so stupid that it makes my brain hurt. I could go on, with the stupidity of this, but I don't care. It's just boring. It's boring. It's boring. It's boring. It's boring. It's boring. Am I getting through to you yet? It's boring. It's boring. It's boring. It's boring. At least Christmas in New York was occasionally entertainingly bad. Let's just move on to the next one. If I keep at this one, I will sleep through Christmas. Great opening, by the way. So, Gumball is apparently a show that a lot of people love that I could never get really into, except for Nicole, both being a MILF and in anime form, because this show just annoys me. I watched it when it first came out in 2011, and it never appealed to me. It could have been just the fact that I wasn't into any cartoons at the time, and I wouldn't be until 2012 with My Little Pony. Not every episode of Gumball is bad from what I've seen. The Copycats was a very funny meta-human episode attacking its China counterpart copyright infringement, which is probably the best Gumball episode. And The Choices was good at showing the origins of Nicole and Richard, and that's all I got. Eventually I'll watch every single episode of this show when I get to its Cartoon Network 64 episode years from now. Maybe I'll review it before that Gumball movie comes out, assuming Discovery will allow Warner to have it come out and not be locked away. Amnesia stories are overdone, by the way. It's cliche in animation to have a character forget who they are with a bump on their head. Just because you have Santa do it doesn't mean that you're doing anything subversive. Mary Madagascar worked because the Santa there was at least funny. As for Gumball Santa, look at this Santa. Just look at this. He's a gnome. One of the most unoriginal Santa designs I have ever seen. When the rest of the show has impressive animation blends that I have never seen in any other show ever, you'd think they would do something like that for Santa. Like, I'm not against the 2D bum idea, but what if the real Santa was real? Like a live-action real human Santa in a world full of cartoon characters. They've had real people in Gumball since, so I don't know why they couldn't do this in Season 2.
Come on, kids, come home! There's plenty of stuff that doesn't exist. The Tooth Fairy, Bigfoot, Switzerland.
Simpsons did it. Like, this exact same joke.
Lisa, vampires are make-believe, just like elves, gremlins, and Eskimos.
A problem with this episode is that it has stupid, shitty moments. Oh hey, Nicole, the smart one, for years, has sent her letters to the South Pole. I noticed this on my first watch through, by the way. And the gift that she's been asking for years were dolls of her family, as in herself, her husband, and kids. Even though she's been asking this since she herself was a kid and didn't have any kids of her own, at least Jimmy Neutron's gift delaying for years makes sense. And Richard I hate. I legit don't get why anyone likes him. He's one of the most annoying dumbass dads I have ever seen. His annoying shenanigans in this episode, like with the tree and Rudolph. Oh, I'm sorry, Blitzen. Maybe next time if you don't want your audience to call him Rudolph, don't give him a red nose. Anywho, I just don't care for Richard. That's what I'm getting at. While this episode does have a couple of jokes.
I want some walkie-talkies! Oh man, it's really well wrapped! Ask it for scissors! I want some scissors! Are you kidding me?
Everything for the most part is just miserable. Do you want to see a little girl's toy burn and have her cry? Well, how about the Watterson kids ruining everyone's Christmas just because they're sad?
Hey everybody! Christmas is back on!
Hey, now that we feel good again, it's okay for you to feel good again. Let's just end this. So, you want to celebrate Christmas. The best way to do that is to read the most famous Christmas story of them all, A Christmas Carol. Written by Charles Dickens in 1843, it follows the story of a miserable and greedy miser named Ebenezer Scrooge. On Christmas Eve, he's haunted by the ghost of his partner Jacob Marley, who warns him he will be visited by three spirits. The ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future arrive to show Scrooge how he became who he is, what his actions have caused, and what they will eventually lead to. There have been several adaptations. Some are amazing like Mickey's Christmas Carol, some aren't that good like Wayside Christmas, and some are just okay like Looney Tunes Bah Humpduck. I have yet to see the Muppets Christmas Carol, but everyone tells me that one is amazing and I need to see it at some point. But we need to talk about the worst Christmas Carol ever, and that goes to The Loud House. I recently talked about The Loud House for over an hour on a Ryanimation review, and yeah, I feel like I only cracked part of it. So this one is a two-way tie, and they're sister episodes. I didn't want to do ties, but fuck! They're so bad that I have no choice. I know Seasons Cheatins isn't technically a Christmas Carol parody, but if you saw how bad it was...
It's a void of nothingness, just like the universe.
You will want to put it on your naughty list. You want to see an even worse version of Miracle on Evergreen Terrace? Well, The Loud House did that. If you basically took all the jokes out of Miracle on Evergreen Terrace, you get this. I know this one's only half the length, but it's still twice as bad. This is that episode.
It's the most wonderful time of the year, and I'm not talking about Lana's annual earwax removal. I'm talking about Christmas in the Loud House.
Okay, what the hell? We're still doing this in Season 5? I thought we were done with Lincoln talking to the audience like this. Yes, cartoons from the 90s did this, but there's a reason why cartoons nowadays don't do this. It not only looks awkward, but it's counterintuitive. It's easier to just use a normal narrator.
Ah, the sea. So fascinating. Home of one of my favorite creatures, SpongeBob SquarePants.
Honestly, prologues are useless, and even narrators are starting to die out. But at least with normal narrators, they're just at the beginning and that's it. But Lincoln talks to the audience throughout the episode. Yes, he did this in season 1, but that's usually because people usually work their kinks out in the first season to see what works and what doesn't. I thought Lincoln stopped doing this in the modern seasons because of how little he did after season 1, but I guess we're still doing this cliche. Speaking of cliches, this episode is a ripoff of its season 1 episode, The Sweet Spot, which was the weakest of the early episodes. The only thing that I found funny out of that episode is the fact that that episode used a clip in the theme song of this show.
This how we show our love in the madhouse, in the madhouse.
Sounds fine there. Now here is its actual audio. That makes it so much better. Lincoln in this Christmas one even screams in the car. But this is the least of my problems. Okay, so Lincoln goes around trying to trick each sister into buying some cool backpack for Christmas, and he would shit talk any sister that gets in his way and take advantage of them as well. What a wonderful protagonist. The whole time that I was watching this episode, I was half thinking to myself, why doesn't Lincoln just save his own money? It's clear that he has money. I mean, he has all these costume designs of his sisters. Why do you have all this stuff, Lincoln? It's even bad enough that you have these random pictures of your sisters for these random situations, plus random wigs and dresses put into files in your room.
Are you kidding me?
Don't shout.
What kind of show is this?
Hey.
You know, in my last video, I had people telling me that Lincoln was the evilest character on the show, and I had a hard time believing that, considering that he's a torture porn for most episodes, including the episode that I previously did a Ryanimation review on. But episodes like Season's Cheatings make me change my mind, especially with all the shit that Lincoln goes through just to get what he wants. Why is Lori suddenly a good sister now? Last time that I checked, she was just as evil as Vicky from the Fairy Godparents. Always in charge, had a higher authority figure, treat everyone else as her slaves while she was a sergeant. Hell, she even dressed as a sergeant in one episode. She also had bad episodes giving bad romance advice.
When a girl picks on you, that only ever means one thing. She likes you.
And let's not forget that Lori forced Lincoln to date his bully only because the bully was related to Lori's boyfriend Bobby, and threatening to kill Lincoln if he didn't do what she said.
And you will make her feel like the most special girl in the world! I'll go iron my khakis!
And now, in the present, she's all pretty chill and considered one of the nicer ones. She's good now. Either you have to leave the Loud House to stop being an abuser, or this show is just not good at consistent writing. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they didn't have an episode of her changing or maturing, right? Because despite all the over 100 episodes of the show, dear God help us, there's over 100 episodes. I don't recall if they ever did that for her. She's all nicey nice now. Even Lincoln looks up to her.
Even though she's away at school, she's a pretty good gift giver too.
Like, I feel like I missed shit. No, I am not rewatching every episode to check. I'll do that once I get to the essay for this show.
I'm sorry, I don't have time to go to Vanzilla.
An innocent old man falling down from his roof is not funny, show.
Hi, honey. This is your mother, Rita.
I thought after Chris left, these inappropriate jokes would have stopped. I mean, the underage child twerk it did, but then this shit still slips through the cracks. I mean, I guess it's not as bad as the underage child twerk it, but still, gross is gross. Here's another problem with this show. I don't know if this is a problem with writing in general, but it's something that I take issue with. If you can predict plot points and / or the ending of something from miles away, it's bad writing. When I first watched this episode, knowing nothing about the episode going in blind, I predicted that Lincoln would have forgotten about getting a present for one of the sisters for the swap. And I was right.
Hey, who did you buy a gift for?
Oh no, I forgot!
Like fucking clockwork. Crash Course had this exact same problem. When I noticed the test scores the second time around on my first watch through, I predicted that it was like actual golf numbers instead of other scores being lower is better.
She's getting failing grades in all her classes!
Later.
Lori's grades were really golf scores, and in golf, lower is better.
And I was right.
The royal
Woods Mall is now closed. I'm sure your loved ones will understand how badly you messed up. Merry Christmas!
You know, if you wanted to make this an actual joke, you could have Lincoln yell, "This is hopeless!" And then the lady could say something like, "Merry Christmas, little boy." Just do something with it! This show has a major problem with them setting up jokes, but never actually following through the joke. There's potential for them, but every single time, they miss the point. And the problem is solved by Lincoln doing a black market dealing with Chandler with him giving his backpack to him. I have no idea who this guy is, or why Lincoln ever tried to associate with him. He's Lincoln's bully. I mean, his first episode that he appears in has Clyde and Lincoln take advantage of Lori's job to get Chandler free stuff, and after that he's been nothing but a bully for the whole series. Why would Lincoln ever trust him for anything? And this is a side note, but there's a part where Lana gets a present and it's nothing but mud. Who gives a child mud for a gift? I can't believe I'm saying this, but Meg getting trash from the bathroom upstairs from Family Guy made a better present than this.
Wow! There's something in it this year!
Settle down, Meg. It's the upstairs bathroom trash.
And now we get to A Christmas Carol. Oh, I'm sorry. A Flipmas Carol. Get it? It's a pun. Let me tell you how A Christmas Carol normally goes, while at the same time explain why the Loud House does it wrong. Because this episode's gonna get it all wrong. Scrooge is supposedly to be the only real bad one at the beginning. But see how Lynn caused property damage and is complaining of needing to pay it off? Flip isn't the only asshat. For the Ghost of Christmas Present, we're supposed to see that despite harsh conditions, everyone is still thankful that they have each other during the Christmas spirit. And that's what warms Scrooge up. Here, it just looks like everyone's Christmas will be ruined unless they have nice things. Yeah, great lesson to teach there. Honestly, this is the worst part of the whole episode. At least with something like Miracle on Evergreen Terrace, people were happy before The Simpsons did their thing. And for some reason, despite the Ghost of Christmas Present, as in singular, there's two of them. Why does the present have two ghosts? Hey Lisa, he said he was gonna be visited by 3 ghosts, not 4. Maybe if this was funny like Bah Humduck with Granny and Tweety, but it's not. The original story also had Scrooge come to terms with himself doing wrong before he got to Ghost of Christmas Future. At this point in the original story, Scrooge is scared but eager to know of the future. Flip tries to selfishly escape the ghost and waits until he sees its tombstone to realize that he did wrong. There's just no jokes in this one.
Turns out you can't escape your fate.
Boo. There's just no jokes in this one. You can't even make Lucy funny, despite her playing Christmas Future. It would have been funny if she was silent. Then she could have pointed for Flip to dig something. And then the twist could have been that he was digging his own grave. And then Lucy could have said something like, "I made you dig your own grave because no one else would do it." And then Lucy could push Flip into his own grave. And maybe like the Mickey Mouse version, there could have been fire surrounding it, implying that he's going to hell. For a girl that loves death, it's amazing at how much she fails at it. But that's a story for another day. There are no good jokes for this one. At least Foster's A Lost Clause had a legit funny Bob Marley joke.
Bob Marley!
Wait, don't you mean Jacob Marley?
Never mind!
Like Friendship is Magic's Christmas Carol, this one doesn't have a Jacob Marley. But at least for Friendship is Magic, they ran out of time to have Discord in it. Though they could cut some other jokes in the episode, at least we have an excuse, and that one at least makes their version of the Christmas Carol more unique than the Loud House, and Starlight Glimmer, Snowfall Frost, learned their lesson before the Ghost of Christmas Future came. And yet, with all this complaining, there's still one Christmas animation worse than this one. The worst Christmas special ever, by a landslide, is the one from My Gym Partner's a Monkey. Well, it's only a Christmas special in name, as it actually takes place on the hottest day of the year. This was Cartoon Network's worst show ever.
Oh! Are you joking?
Oh, that reminds me, Jake is Tom Kenny's worst role ever. He sounds like SpongeBob right here. For the whole show, he's basically SpongeBob at his worst, 100% of the time. No SpongeBob episode is as bad as this show. One course meal was funnier than this whole show.
Sorry, but it must be an animal thing.
You do know that humans are animals, right? Why is it that fiction likes to think that the world is divided into humans and non-humans?
I just scored a tin of some wicked regurgitated fish paste.
Poop!
Nice try, Adam.
Lupe is so bad that I want toucans to go extinct. Ingrid says that she doesn't want to hit him with a coconut because he is new to the school and wants to cut him some slack for not wearing a certain color shirt. And you're supposed to hit anyone 3 times with a coconut that doesn't wear that color. It'd be clever if Lupe did it 6 times to make up for Ingrid, but she does it way more than just 6 times.
I love it when we hang our shedded skin by the heat lamps with care.
See, this is the problem with this show. It takes animal things too far. Yes, real animals do this, but that doesn't mean that I want to see characters do that in the cartoon. Dung beetles in real life roll shit, and real life butterflies eat shit. But that doesn't mean that I want to see that happen in a cartoon.
Gracias, chica. Always glad to be of service.
I know Jake is the worst character on the show, but Lupe is a close second. She's only better because she gets less screen time.
That's exactly the problem with Animus. Or more precisely, what Animus has become. We all know it's just another day for the greeting card and fish paste industries to hawk their overpriced products.
I could be watching the Charlie Brown Christmas special right now, because it stated that message better.
Look, Charlie, let's face it. We all know that Christmas is a big commercial racket. It's run by a big Eastern syndicate.
And that came out over 4 years before this episode. And even in 2022, that 1965 special still holds up. Actually, knowing what syndicates are like today, I say that message has aged like fine wine.
Salt licks are provided in the locker room.
You know, that joke would have been funny if there were any deer in here. You know, ones that use salt licks.
All the creatures at school loved Animus a bunch, all but one rotten gym coach named Gilsey the Grunch. Her reasons for hating, I have only a hunch. Perhaps she was grumpy after skipping her lunch.
Horace, turn that tape off!
I don't know what's more of a waste, Brian Doyle Murray or the Grinch parody. Oh, that reminds me, this sneezing joke that they have is annoying, and I don't know why they keep it in so much. You know, besides allergies.
I see you wore Periwinkle. Periwinkle was for yesterday.
A talking tumbleweed!
And he waited until he was done talking to scream and react. Talk about a delayed reaction. This show doesn't understand the basics of the timing of comedy.
We all went south like our instincts told us to.
But animals usually only go south as in when the north is cold for the winter. But they state that Animus is about the hottest day of the year. Wouldn't the heat kill them if they went south? Because if you go south, it would be hotter than the north.
I should probably fit in, but I haven't grown fur or a pectoral fin. I haven't sprouted arbor or shed my old skin. So if I can't find my instincts, should I go back to my kin?
Does this even count as music? Can I go back to Sonic Boom now and listen to Styx?
Though personally, I find the grim knowledge that our freedoms are slowly eroding enough to keep me awake at night.
No, seriously, Nika Futterman voices both Styx and Adam. She was also the voice of Luna in The Loud House, and Chum Chum in Fanboy and Chum Chum. Adam can't sing. That's kind of what I'm getting at. And I thought that Adam couldn't just simply go back to the human school. Oh, so the theme song has always been a lie. Good to know.
Animus is ruined!
Attention all students. Animus is ruined thanks to one Mr. Adam Lyon.
You want to know why it's hard to watch this show? Because Adam always gets beaten down.
The Great Gourd? You really exist?
Well, actually, I'm a stress-induced hallucination of the Great Gourd.
Okay, I can understand the Grinch parody, and even the Christmas Carol parody, as that relates to Christmas. But this is a Halloween parody. It doesn't make sense to parody Halloween when you're doing Christmas. Unless you're trying to do something like Nightmare Before Christmas, but it's not! Charlie Brown does have its own Christmas special. You could have easily parodied something of that. Like the tree or the play or the first prize thing. But instead you parody the pumpkin patch. If you want to do a parody on Charlie Brown Halloween, I suggest the Robot Chicken sketch on it.
That's for years of humiliation, bitch. Who ever heard of a kid going to an all-animal school anyway?
You know, I would repeat that joke that I made in my My Little Pony Friendship's Magic Pilot video, but this doesn't deserve it. When Adam goes to the human place? It's Allie's, so I wouldn't know. He acts like an idiot to 3 different people and said that he doesn't belong here. You always spent less than 3 minutes there! You can't determine if you belong somewhere in less than 3 minutes. It takes way more time than that. Unless this is a parody, but it's clearly not. So Ann goes to a sushi samurai for help. He eats a bunch of wasabi because comedy. And then he gets a hallucination from Coach Gills to go back to school because of friends. Ah, yes, because your friends always hit you with the coconut 3 times in the...
Surprise, motherfucker!
Ow! But I am wearing periwinkle.
I know, but Jack sent me, and he said that this is for making him watch Boss Baby. And if you think you can do the same to me, you have another thing coming.
And then it ends with Adam finding a piece of shit and needing to pee on the shit to have its scent show. The next morning, I woke up puking into the toilet in my own house, realizing how disgusting that was. And that was the top 10 worst Christmas animations. I know I didn't do dishonorable mentions, but if you want me to do those in the future, please let me know. I only just did the normal 10 this time around since this is my first ever top 10 list for a Ryanimation review. I think since we have gotten better stories of anthropomorphic animals, and there are ways to do this kind of story correctly, more correctly than this. But for something to be truly amazing, it needs to understand the medium of animation, and then take it to the next level. And I think that the next Ryanimation review is going to be on something that does that. Rebeccah Starlight out. Merry Halloween!